All right, you guys, welcome back to the Outdoor RX YouTube channel. We've got a lot to unpack today, you guys. There's been more breaking news on the whole Scott Martin ordeal and the possible disqualification on the Pasquotank River. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few more hot topics on the Bassmaster Elite Series. But before we get into that, you guys, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like the content you're seeing. I really appreciate y'all's support, and let's dive into it. Rumor has it that he hired someone to do a private polygraph test and he passed it. So I'm assuming that he tried to send the polygraph results into Bass, and Bass was like, no, you have to use our polygraph system. And I understand that both ways, but it also leads to a lot of questions. You know, are the questions different that the Bassmaster polygraph test provides? I don't know. Is the private polygraph more in your favor? I don't know. Are they fair? I don't know. If y'all know anything about polygraphs, you let me know. I do know that they're supposed to be a lie detector test. So if the questions are worded differently in the Bassmaster polygraphs versus a private polygraph, I understand why Bass wouldn't take that as a valid polygraph. But either way, it raises a bunch of questions. He passed it, Bass won't accept it, and Scott Martin is officially retired. So let's kind of talk about what that means for Scott. You know, it's really, really unfortunate, and whether you like Scott Martin or not, it's a sad deal all the way around because, you know, like I said, whether or not you like him, he's been in the industry for, let's say, 25, 30 years, and he's pretty much done everything there is to do in the fishing world besides win the Bassmaster Classic, and this isn't the way you want to end your career. So maybe we'll see Scott next year, maybe we won't, but I'm sure he'll ride off into the sunset, if you will, and continue doing his YouTube channel and his fishing show. So with that being said, you guys, drop some comments down below if you have heard something different or if you have a different opinion about, you know, Bass not accepting his polygraph and maybe the reasons why he wouldn't take Bass's polygraph. You know, I don't really know the details and the difference between Bass's polygraph versus, you know, a privately hired polygraph test. You know, the questions might be a little different, the pressure might be a little different. I'm not sure. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think there. Another thing that is kind of floating around is the people that actually protested Scott for this whole ordeal. You know, I dropped a video last Friday and had no idea about any of it. It just so happened that the things that I said were right in the middle of this whole debacle. So there are some people that actually protested him that aren't being made public yet, and I don't know if those will ever be made public. They probably won't be, but y'all let me know what you think about that in the comments as well. All right, you guys, I just want to talk a little bit about how the rules in Bassmaster haven't changed as far as the Elite Series goes. You know, the no information rule has been around since the inception, and it seems like that rule hasn't been enforced like it should have been leading up to 2025. You're seeing all these people getting DQ'd just out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Well, it turns out that Bass is actually enforcing the rules now, which is a great thing. I think that if you were to talk to a veteran angler, there's a bunch of them that are on the Elite Series. Some of them were on the Elite Series, left at the MLF split. Y'all remember that a few years ago, and then came back. There's a bunch of them out there, and I'm sure if you talk to those guys, they've been dealing with this for 20 plus years. It's not like the rules have changed. It's common sense. If someone comes up to you at a gas station or at a restaurant, tackle shop, whatever it may be, if they start talking to you about something, it's common sense to tell them, hey, I can't get information. You know, we can talk about something else, but we can't talk about fishing. It's common sense, you guys. And that being said about the veterans, you guys, you also have a split where you have these super young kids coming in. Some of them might have fished college, some of them haven't, but they're used to getting this treasure trove of information. And when they get to the Elite Series, that whole ball game changes, and they've been living in that gray area for their entire time fishing, and then they get to the Elite Series, and once they start cracking down, I think, in my opinion, you're going to see a lot more disqualifications this year. There's no way that Scott Martin is the only person that got information after that cutoff time. I'm not sure when that cutoff time was, but there is no way that he's the only one that got information before that cutoff. So my predictions is that you're going to see some more disqualifications this year, and I think that that's a great thing, and I think that it's going to overall be better for the sport. It's going to enforce all the anglers to have integrity and live by the rules, which shouldn't we shouldn't even be having this conversation, but it seems like whenever there's money on the line that people tend to either live in the gray area or just flat out break the rules. All right, you guys, I want to talk about kind of the pipeline going up to the Bassmaster Elite Series. So I think that as a person of the fishing community, we're instilling a lot of bad habits in the younger generation. The high school, the college kids coming up, they're coming up with forward-facing sonar, which is one thing. They're coming up with a treasure trove of people telling them where to go fish, how to fish, what to use to catch the fish. And then when they move up to the opens and the elite level, not only are they at a disadvantage, they're solely relying on that information game that they've played all the way up to that point. And I don't want to point fingers at them, but if we were to try to instill or put rules into place that would allow them to learn the art of the sport and learn the craft at their own pace, it would not only create a much better, well-rounded angler, it would alleviate some of that stress as far as the information goes. Because when you're put into that situation, let's just say a college angler, you have a full ride to go fish somewhere, you have a boat that you don't have to pay for, you get these big-time sponsorships from legitimate companies, and then you also have people telling you where to go, what to fish with, and you name it, they've got the information to do it. It paints a picture of these guys being just better than they are. I'm not taking away from them. I know there's some awesome college anglers out there, but if we were to put some rules on it, it would make it a lot easier for them once they get to the elite level to not solely rely on getting information from people and using their forward-facing sonar. If we could take away the information game and the forward-facing sonar, you would have some of the best young anglers, in my opinion, that we've ever had, especially with the technology as far as rods and reels and boats and yada yada. So that's just something for y'all to think about. Y'all drop a comment down below if you agree with me or not. All is good there. All right, you guys, I want to end this video on a positive note and share a story with you guys on how I got my nickname, which is Jackknife Andrew, and it came from my very first bass tournament I ever fished. It was a tournament on my home lake, and it was a one-day shootout for $50,000, and I wasn't even going to fish it because I didn't have a boat, and my buddy was like, hey, man, you know that lake pretty well. You want to fish it? And I was like, yeah, I've never fished a bass tournament before. Let's do it. So we had a decent day. I just wanna let y'all know how the whole nickname came about. So we were one of the last flights to come in, and there was like, I don't know, 400 and some boats. And you guys, this body of water is tiny, so 450 boats on this little body of water creates a cluster F, if you know what I'm saying. So we get back to check in. We're one of the last flights, and there's a massive crowd of people, just massive, and there's not any boat docks available. So my buddy's like, all right, do you want to load the boat or back the trailer? And I was like, well, I'm not comfortable with either one because I've never backed the trailer with mirrors, and I've never loaded a boat. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go get the trailer so you can flounder around out here with all these people. And it wasn't my boat, so I didn't want to mess his boat up. So it was like a half-a-mile walk to get his truck and trailer, and he had a lifted Toyota Tundra, so I was used to turning my head around and backing a trailer, and I couldn't see the trailer. So let me just try to paint this picture for you guys. There is, let's say, 500 to 1,000 people on this hill watching the weigh-in, and it is right in front of the boat ramp. So, and there's only 2 little lanes on the boat ramp for all these anglers to take their boat out on. So I'm sitting there in line, and the line is massive to get to these 2 little spots on the boat ramp. So I get to it, and I turn the I get ready to back the trailer in, and I am just jackknifing this trailer everywhere, and people are laughing, standing up, screaming at me. I'm all over the place, and I was so embarrassed, I started laughing uncontrollably. And my buddy said that he could see me in the rear view mirror just dying laughing. And finally, I got the trailer into the water, and my buddy was so embarrassed that he wouldn't even go weigh our fish in with me. So after that, you guys, my nickname was Jackknife Andrew, and that stuck with me and still sticks with me to this day. So I hope y'all enjoyed that story. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next.